Welcome back, everybody. We're about to dive into our third and final adventure of the evening, one that I've entitled a bit high-mindedly "The Persistence of Memory." But before we begin, we are going to, as always, get to know our adventurers. We got a Fable tier adventure here, so I'm excited to see everyone play. So first up, we have Fluffy coming back, or Cuddle Muffin. What is your current nomenclature?
I believe I'm going with Fluffy.
Fluffy. So how have you been, the Master of None? Have you been doing good throughout the last D&D time? As that is, I believe, a larger portion of your kind of quest.
Since the tavern, I've just been visiting the zoo, and I've been trying to convince the zookeepers to let me comfort all the animals, and then they're trying to tell me why it's a good thing that they're in cages.
That is a difficult thing to rectify, and I can certainly understand why you would believe that the contrary is true. I don't know where I personally stand on the issue. Have you like made friends with any of the animals at the zoo personally? Is there any animal that you in particularly get along with?
Not all of them. I've talked to a few of the monkeys, but they can be very rude.
Yeah, I find that monkeys can oftentimes be, at least very chatty in the land of D&D time consistently. And anything else you'd like to share about your, just about what's going on in your life, Fluffy?
No, pretty calming life since I've come here. About what I usually do in the forest. A lot louder because of all the people.
Yes, you are the only individual I think that would call the life in Bartholomew's shop calming, which I think says a lot about who you are. But Fluffy, it's good to be adventuring with you once more. Welcome back.
To stress out.
Next we have returning Baxter Risewell, the Gravedigger. Baxter, it has been a much longer time since I've seen you, although I know this isn't quite your first time back.
No, dearie, no, not at all. It's just been a long time.
How has now tell me, how has Baxter been finding the world that he's returned to? Has there been any kind of major changes that he didn't expect, or any new things to note?
A lot of new things, a lot of new people, a lot of new holes to dig. So the thing that seems everybody in this happy-go-lucky little camp of yours seems to forget. Well, not everybody is under Bartholomew's employ. The coming back in the contracts doesn't exactly extend to everybody around. Of course, somebody does something distasteful. They have to be dealt with in due time, hence what we're paid for. But, I think on these things probably a little more than the youngins.
I think there's no doubt to that. I think it's easy for a lot of these people to forget, as you said, that your kind of miraculous ability to come back, to throw yourselves headlong into danger and have everything work out okay is limited only to those of you. I think you know that probably better than anyone else in the shop.
I appreciate that. Outside of that, I have been hard at work. Little piece of property on the far end. It gives us a little bit of solidarity where I get to end up speaking with people of, let's just say they got a bit more knowledge than even I do on current interesting subjects. Particularly small deer who I've been doing everything I can, given the salts and oils required to keep skin in a proper state. And I also had a wonderful talk with Philip Q. Janglebones not too long ago. He's always welcome near the village.
A lot of time spent in the Southtown Cemetery, I take it, yes?
Well, a lot of time spent with some of its denizens. You might recall that a good portion of them did end up coming with me to end up getting away from the breeders. Mostly to just try and end up keeping most of them all situated and happy. It's part of the job, after all, and I'm not about to rebury them. That would just be cruel.
Have
Well,
you tried
Baxter.
talking to trees? Trees have a lot to say and are very wise.
I find them mostly good for making coffins.
And on that note, Baxter, it is good to have you back.
Appreciate it.
Coming up next, we have Sword Coheir, recently promoted and as of yet untitled. Sword, how are you? How have your travels about the land of DnDTime been?
Oh, I've mostly been trying to catch up on sleep, but I'm afraid that's not been working out too well.
Yes, I mean, the life of an adventurer is certainly a demanding one, no two ways about that. Sword, I was interested in your lack of desire to show off a title, to take any sort of real physical recognition of your accomplishments. Is that Sword doesn't want one, or does he not see the value in that, or is it that he wants to remain more anonymous if possible? What was Sword's reasoning for that?
To be perfectly honest, besides being relatively disinterested in fame, I feel that in order for me to stick to my, I guess my faith, it'd be best I stay humble to my roots.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I think it shows a great deal of virtue as well. I'm impressed with how kind of in touch with your own self you are. And you said you haven't been getting much sleep. Anything in particular that's been keeping you up?
Yes, this incessant yipping. It's been occurring for the last few nights.
Yipping, huh?
Yes, I'm guessing one of the other tenants around the area has picked up a new animal.
Maybe that might be the case. Well, either way, Sword, it is good to have you back once more, and I hope maybe you'll be tired enough after this one to get an excellent night's rest.
One could only hope.
And last but not least, we have, I believe, now connected and has voice, Fawkes, the sword that cuts the heavens.
All right, I'm back. Yep, it's me. I'm here.
Fawkes, anything you would care to say to the good people?
Yeah, I've been busy slaying a few undead arms with the natural resources of the Kingdom of Trees.
Oh yes, I forgot that you have recently become King of the Trees, the Tree King. I have a question. How did Fawkes feel about the title Tree King Fawkes?
I think that's okay. Suits, fits, works so well.
And
I mean, call me luck.
Yes. Well, I call you the sword that cuts the heavens. And I guess after the initial kind of heat of the moment in which you married into this sort of royal family, did you find, Fawkes, that do you still feel like the flames of love? Was it love? What motivated Fawkes to decide to take this title and to become king, the sovereign of these tree people?
Well, opportunity. I saw an opportunity. King Princess or Queen. So, I mean, why not? Why wouldn't you?
Fair enough. I wasn't sure if it was out of any particular strong desire for power, or if it was just, I can do it, so I will.
I mean, power, schmower. I mean, it's pretty good to be king.
Fair. Yeah, I imagine there's a lot of benefits. I imagine there's tons of shade now. Shade wherever you need it. Well, either way, yes. Either way, Fawkes, welcome. Also, you might want to just try disconnecting and reconnecting one more time because you're cutting in and out on me quite a bit. So, as our adventure begins, the four of you step towards the Plane of Dreams. Have any of you been to the Plane of Dreams before?
Not far from
Yes. In fact, my last adventure required me to go to the plane of
Oh, yes, of course. Oh, geez, sorry, you're having some. We got some major botting out tonight.
I'm fine, right?
Yes, you are fine, I believe, as is Baxter. Sorry, can you say one more thing for me? Make sure you're back.
Does this sound any better?
Yep, you are better now. All right, so as you were saying, yes, so you recently been to the Plane of Dreams, so you kind of have a general idea. And what you are aware is that in order to get there, naturally, you have to fall asleep, but not just at any old location. You have to fall asleep in a spot that's been specially prepared to be in tune with the Plane of Dreams. So where our adventure begins, you find yourselves climbing a mountain, specifically a mountain called the Slumbering Spine. As you slowly work your way up over rock, I imagine for you, Baxter, it's a bit of a labor. You are, at this point, fairly getting on in years.
Well, we make do, dear. We make do.
Yeah. At least rugged from all of the... I guess you do a lot more manual labor than I should be, that I shouldn't be discounting here.
Well, you have to end up coming to one of my services sometime.
Perhaps someday, or hopefully it's not. Well, maybe, I suppose is the answer. So you continue to climb up this mountain, and as you reach the top, you see a small wooden sort of shack. It's called the House of Rest. And the mountain itself, you can feel it slowly heaving up and downwards. It moves almost like the gentle breath of something asleep. It feels relaxing. As you stand up there, you can already feel your eyes starting to grow heavy. Within, for those of you who have been to the Plane of Dreams, specifically the monastery of the Dreamwalker monks, I believe that is only you, Fawkes, in this case. He's able to tell you that within will be 4 beds for you to fall asleep in that will lead you to where you need to be for this adventure. But as it stands, you all just stand atop the mountain, this kind of small house in front of you.
Is this the place?
There's just a small... there's just kind of a small note tacked to the door that says, "See you on the other side."
Does one know how to get to the Plane of Dreams? I've never been there before myself.
Baxter leans a bit on his shovel, and he's using it more like a walking cane at this point. Turns to him. Well, I imagine, given he opens the door and the 4 beds are shown.
Yeah.
Well, I'd imagine it might have something to do with resting above ground. Unless you want me to whack you upside the head with the shovel and put you out. You know. Could be like that. Could be like Kurgan.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. Trust me, I've tried.
That sounds like there's a story to it, dearie. Baxter steps in through the
You have
door.
to willingly go to sleep?
What? Don't trust me.
Okay, I guess we go inside. Do we see the beds?
Yep, you see the 4 beds kind of laid out for you.
I made sure to put my bonsai tree next to the bed, so my face is facing it, so I'm breathing in fresh bonsai air as I go to sleep.
All right. It's very pleasant, and you find that in this location, with this kind of spot that is clearly very much attuned to what you need to do, the slow, gentle rocking of the mountain beneath you, it heaves up, it heaves down. You find yourself instantly kind of lulled. And as each of you eventually drift off, as soon as you do, you awaken. And you find yourself standing in a very beautiful mountaintop scene. The mountain that you now stand on, the top of it is flat, as if the top has almost been knocked off of it, but you have a beautiful view of the surrounding land. As you look out into the distance, you can see a landscape that is difficult to describe. Trees of myriads of different colors, swirling storms of snow that are just isolated to one very small location. You see in the distance a giant hourglass sticking up and out of the ground, towering almost like a mountain unto itself. You stand now in the plane of dreams, and even more immediate, you see beautiful trees, like a small orchard that's growing in this region, and a distant house where many monks seem to be busy at their training. They move slowly and with practice movements as they go through kind of different exercise routines, and others are just walking about doing chores. Some of them are tending to the flock of sheep that is here atop the mountain, others picking from the orchards that grow. It is a peaceful and very beautiful scene that you all find yourself suddenly standing in as you drift off.
That's an interesting feeling.
Well, it's very rare to end up seeing such a beauty in the waking world.
There is a similar druid tribe that is expert in dreams. I never practiced that magic myself, though.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, I've put plenty of people to sleep before. Sometimes with a story, sometimes with a word, but maybe it's nice to end thinking this would be the last thing I see.
Do we know what we're meant to be doing?
Dreams or afterlife, why would they be...
Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry to interrupt.
I said dreams or afterlife, though. Why would they be harvesting and herding cattle and sheep and stuff?
Well, from my time on the other side, you have to understand, afterlife is not a matter of a lack of want. It's given pure purpose. Something you can do, something you enjoy, something that makes you a part of something greater. And the peace that ends up coming with that, knowing that you are a part of something larger, a community. That's why it is that those small villages seem to be a taste of heaven. But not many of us get that opportunity to go, I'm sorry to say.
Who shall lead the way?
And to answer your question before, Fluffy, you were instructed to meet with a woman named Som. Apparently, Som is the leader of a sect of monks known as the Dreamwalker monks, and this is her monastery. She should be somewhere in here, and she would give you the details on what she needs done.
So we head towards the monastery then. I go towards where the monks are training, assuming we'll find her, hopefully commanding them.
Yes, with some kind of cursory investigation, it's not too difficult. Most of the monks seem to be expecting you. They seem in a bit of a rush to get you to her. They're all... there's a general air of kind of nervousness about most of the people that are here training, even kind of showing through on what are some fairly disciplined folks.
There's no need for urgency. We'll get there when we get there.
She's just right this way, please. And eventually, you are led to a fairly short human woman, hair back in a tight kind of gray bun, who looks up to you. Ah, hello there.
Hello.
Hello, Sean.
Greetings.
It is good to see all of you. I have heard, of course, many tales about the adventurers from Bartholomew's shop. You are the name. I remember the name, and she seems to be like really focusing for a moment. The Master of None. Yes.
Yes, that is the title.
That is a very good title, I think. It is a very good title, and even here in the plain, the words have reached our ears about a humble gravedigger, yes, who's gone far.
It's been a long time, Saul.
Indeed, I suppose it has.
Well, what was it? Right, it was a young man Julius managed to make it to 27. Horrible rock climbing incident. I was appreciative of your time in the funeral, and glad to know that you may have made a personal appearance. I'm sure it would have meant the world to him.
That was very tragic. Yes, but perhaps he is in a better place now. Is all we can hope, right?
Oh, that also reminds me. For future reference, do you still end up using wood shavings as preference?
I'm not sure what you mean by that, Mr. Gravedigger.
Baxter, please.
Baxter.
Well, I'll just take it on assumption. And of course, there's the others. Sword Coheir and Fawkes, the Protector. Well, Sword is one of those individuals who has refused title.
Yes,
That right, Sword?
I apologize that I did not know who you were. I tried to get the information from Bartholomew and
Yeah, it's quite alright. I'm not here for fame and glory.
that is honorable, yes. And of course, and she looks towards Fox 6, and of course, we have met before. You have done work for me. You there, Farku?
Yeah. Oh, hey, I'm back.
Yes, it is good to see you again. Last time, if I remember, I saw you cut the heavens.
Yes. Well, not many people.
I was going to say, I don't know if any of you have seen the individual. They call him the sword that cuts the heavens. I actually saw him cut the heavens. It was spectacular, to say the least. But today, that is not why you are here. My cat is not lost, and you see a cat actually kind of like slinks by and looks up at her and just, I don't know, that's not a good cat purr, but it purrs, and it sounds very much like a cat. Yeah, that's better. And the woman kind of says, unfortunately, today I've lost something else. I've lost the time. You see, things here in the plane of dreams can get a little bit strange at times. That is natural for what is here are things that the people of the homeworld, of the prime plane, have dreamed about. And there are a myriad of wonderful and strange and terrible things here. But there are certain things that have to remain consistent. In order for me to come here and to bring people like you here, it requires a great deal of focus, and I need to have certain things locked in. Time is one of those. I need to know what time it is always. And I ran into a strange creature. And she holds out her pocket watch. And you see it's all kind of like floppy, and like the hands are just like spinning really weird. Like the physics on it, it looks like it was probably made of metal once, but now it looks almost like a piece of pizza dough. And the hands just kind of like jumble around. She goes, something did this to me, and now I do not know what time it is anymore. I just cannot. It was always just up in my head, and now it's just gone. The thought is gone.
Fascinating.
Yes, a bit strange.
Well, maybe it's time to look into that.
That is a joke. I very much appreciate. Yes, I think it is time to look into that. And she gestures and points far into the distance. I was walking over there. I take many walks throughout the plane. It's good to know your surroundings.
Anything you can tell us about this creature besides the fact he stole your time?
I've seen it before. I've never gotten as close as I did. It just sort of, he was just sort of there before me, before I could know it. We call it the minute hand.
Minute?
The minute hand, yes.
The minute hand?
Yes.
Okay.
I do not know why this name seems funny to you.
No, Fluffy isn't laughing. I'm laughing.
Okay, fair enough. And she gestures in the distance as she pointed. She points to that huge mountain-like hourglass. It is among the sands of time. That is where the Minotaur rests. I will need you to journey there, and I do not know. You might have to defeat it. You might be able to just get my time back from it somehow. I do not know what could be done, but until you do, I'm afraid if I do not know the time, I cannot bring you or anyone here. And she gestures to the other training monks home.
This reminds me of something I was told.
Complicate things.
I suppose, yes.
I was told of something called blackmail. This sounds a bit.
Sounds like this time is pretty serious.
I walked towards the direction she was pointing.
Yeah, she was pointing towards that like hourglass that I told you was like the side of a mountain, and you can see it rises out of the ground, almost like it rises out of a desert. It seems.
I just start wandering off from the party, just going that direction, going, "All right, let's do this."
All right, you start walking.
Okay.
All right, I would love to chat with you more, but looks like we're out of time. Maybe another time. It's time to go.
You said the time. You could do like a clock one, maybe, or like a second. Like we don't have another second. What might be a good try? I was just throwing it out there. You're just doing time.
Not this time.
Okay.
Damn chronology.
Well, since it's going to devolve into further puns, my dears, might we start heading off? It seems like he's getting a head start, and I'd hate to see him get eaten before we can watch it. Well,
It's just my way of coping with
take care of
the
Terror.
life.
Take care of yourself, son. I look forward to seeing you again.
Yes, I should see you back soon. Yes.
And you guys set off in the direction. The journey there is kind of a short road, and you are directed and led very carefully by signs. There's kind of signposts everywhere, and as you're kind of following them, you move towards the one that's labeled the Sands of Time.
I love quest.
And each time that you kind of like walk by one of these signposts, it's like a few more steps down the road, and then all of a sudden you almost like find yourself instantly in the next set of the journey. There's like the autumn wood that you pass through, where all the trees are all these like strange colors of like purples and reds and oranges. And then you follow another sign, you move through kind of a section like the crystal caverns, and all of a sudden you're like among like this strange sort of cave system that you're walking through, and eventually you follow the signs to the Sands of Time. The way you travel, it travels almost like you would move in a dream, where it's just you're always kind of where you think you want to be. You don't ever remember how you got to these places. You just kind of remember walking, and then you're just kind of there, and it gives you very much that sense. And before long, you find yourself standing in a vast desert. That huge sort of hourglass looms up on the horizon above you. As you're looking around, you can see a few strange things. You see what looks like a clock with just kind of wings, just kind of float past.
Could I grab onto it?
Yeah, you grab onto it.
All right. Take me away.
Yeah, you're stronger. You're significantly stronger than it, and it can't like fly while it's in your hands.
Oh, okay. I'll just
you're just like holding.
Yep, I'll hold it with me like a balloon. Then.
If you would like to fly, let me know. I can make you do so.
We lost him. So as you begin kind of marching through this desert, you can see kind of a larger figure in the far distance that seems to be kind of like moving around. It walks almost spider-like in the distance, and this is kind of the one thing that seems to be large that's roaming this plain. There's kind of a few there's a few kind of other creatures that seem to be in the distance. Some of them kind of like these tall, slender things holding staves that are just kind of watching and waiting as you pass by. It's all very surreal. As you're moving at one point, at one point as you're walking, you all of a sudden find yourselves feeling very slow, and then everything just kind of shifts back to normal. It's just there's this one instant where all of you find that you're just walking strange. And then as you're moving towards this figure that you see sand start to kick up in the desert around you, as it appears like there's almost a windstorm that's moving in your direction. And that storm it's moving pretty quick, as more of the dust of this strange kind of desert environment kicks up and lifts towards you.
Okay.
So, what are you all kind of doing on this journey?
Baxter is anticipating some form of combat and starts to end up speaking low hushed tones, hanging on to what seems to be a cute piece of leather. And afterwards he ends up placing it back, and almost in his cloak you can almost see it as though his ribs have kind of expanded a bit underneath his clothing. It's actually becoming a little bit more prevalent, with a shot of liquid courage. He ends up giving a quick smile, but on his breath you can almost see like some kind of small fog leave. Potent stuff, that.
All right.
Can I do an Arcana check to see what this slowness is?
The slowness has since subsided. That happened for a brief moment, but go ahead and make me an Arcana check.
14.
From what you know about it, it reminds you've heard of a spell called Slow that has a similar effect to that, but it seems like something that's just almost ambient in the atmosphere. It's just time is a bit distorted in this desert.
Would I know if a dispelled magic would fix it? Like, get rid of it?
Your instincts tell you that this is something on a scale that is far beyond that of your dispel magic. You might be able to like get rid of it on an individual, like if they're under the effect of it, but not to like remove that effect from this desert.
Yeah, that was more a personal target. Like,
okay, I thought you were implying that if you could like dispel the magic of the
no.
of the Sands of Time. No.
Yeah, just like if it's on a friend, if I could get rid of it for them.
All right. So this wind continues to whip up and around you, and it gets closer. You can't see that creature that you kind of had a focus on for a while and were walking towards. You can't see that creature anymore. It's just this haze of brown and tan as this storm overtakes you and pulls you up within it. The wind kind of whips at your hairs and eyes and faces. You feel the tiny grains of sand kind of stinging on your cheeks. And as you're walking, you feel the desert underneath your feet, but all of a sudden your feet strike wood, dunk, 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 as you're just kind of moving through it kind of aimlessly. And in an instant, the storm ceases. And you find yourself standing in Bartholomew's shop, who speaks up and says, greetings, adventurers. It's good to see you. I have quite a quest for you today. I need you to travel north to the Slumbering Spines. I will bring you part of the way. There will be a bit of a trek afterwards, and speak with an old friend of mine. Her name is Soane. She's the leader of the Dreamwalker monks. She will tell you a bit more about your quest.
The fact that she can't tell time.
She did say something about her time being stuck. Yes, she was had forgotten about it.
Which leaves me a little bit curious.
Wait. Have we had this conversation with Bartholomew before?
You had this exact conversation earlier in the day.
Interesting. Fluffy does not know the concept of deja vu, so he's very confused. Like what?
I wouldn't look too far into it.
I'm just gonna stand there confused, like what? I kind of want to shillelagh and attempt to hit him.
Did you have any questions? I was about to send you off.
Yeah. You see, Bartholomew, there might be something a little bit weird going on here because, you see, we already went on that quest. Not more than...
We finished here.
And the funny part is that we don't remember waking up. I'm pretty sure we would have ended up figuring out a long trek. Anybody here remember Sand's big hourglass suddenly stepping on wood out in the middle of sand?
Yes.
Is that just me?
Are you sure that you're feeling? Yes, as you kind of prick up your senses, you don't detect all that much magic, which is actually extremely abnormal for Bartholomew's shop. Bartholomew himself is usually a beacon of magical energy, and like the shop itself usually gives off like extremely powerful magic of every type. Where you're in right now, the magic just appears to be of one type, the room that you're in, including Bartholomew. Everything seems to have this very flat and even concentration of evocation magic. I believe evocation is the type. If it's wrong, I will let you know. Yeah, what are you going to do?
I just want to go up and just attempt to touch him.
All right, you touch him, his face. It feels, oh, get your hands away from me, Fluffy. I would prefer not to be touched.
Very strange. Have you lost your magic, Bartholomew?
No, of course not. And he snaps his fingers, and you see a bunch of sparks come out. I know that's not impressive. I can do better, but you get the point. Why would I have lost my magic? Yeah, they were the same magic as everything else that you've detected.
Fluffy doesn't know what to make of this. He's gonna sit there and think for a moment, right next to Bartholomew, while other people do stuff.
I really there's a lot to do today. You could. If you wouldn't mind moving or getting going, I can send you on your way. I don't know what you're talking about with all of this strange thing. And by the way, my apologies. It's transmutation magic that you're sensing, not evocation.
Oh, okay. Oh, that changed my plans. Okay, let me know when someone else has done something, and then I can do another turn.
Very well.
You see, that's kind of funny. It almost feels like if I end up doing that, we might be just back here. I don't know. I'm getting this strange feeling. What was that? The deja vu.
What's a deja vu?
Well,
where you think you're seeing the same thing twice.
I'm sure it's not any trouble. I have no doubt that you will be fine. And without further ado, he starts to get ready to like cast something. You see him readying a spell of some sort.
Can I shillelagh and hit him?
Yeah, go ahead and make an attack roll.
23.
23 hits, actually. You see him go and raise a shield almost instinctively, as he does for most attacks. And your shillelagh just kind of passes through the shield spell, and as it does, you see that shield kind of explodes in this kind of tan brown sand that washes over the room and then strikes into this kind of fake Bartholomew, which, as the staff continues to move forward through the shield, it also strikes him, and his face starts to like fall away. And you see like sand kind of dripping and bleeding out of the kind of big dent that now appears in the side of him.
Does Bartholomew normally do that?
Nope, can't say that would be normal.
I've hit him before, and I missed last time.
Well, that tells you everything you need to know, Nando. So now that we've not so cleverly and fairly directly counted this little ruse of yours, how about we start talking proper?
the kind of this Bartholomew that's kind of trying to like fix himself. You see like the sand kind of move up the side of the face and kind of reform into him, and he just kind of goes, fine. What do you wish to say?
You see, I get you don't want us to be here. Quite frankly, we don't want to be. But I'm getting some feedback here.
From the Faku.
Farku, can you? We're echoing through your mic. I know you're having a rough night. Sorry, man.
Oh, my bad.
No worries. All right. You muted for a sec.
Yeah. But you see, unfortunately, we got a job to do. Now, we've been told there was an encounter here that ends up making people lose track of time, so to speak. And just so happens that we run into a situation that would make time, in its form we understand it, very confusing. So you can imagine us wanting to understand what's exactly the same hell might be going on here.
Yes. Well, I suppose that is not for me to explain. And you see slowly the sands that were making up Bartholomew start to drain off of his face and kind of siphon to the side as this whole shop starts to get caught. And once again, you find yourself kind of caught up in this huge sandstorm. And you hear a voice kind of echoing among the sandstorm that you're now caught up again. It sounds vaguely like Bartholomew's, but you hear, you'll have to ask the minute hand, as the sands rush past you, and you find yourselves cleared of the sandstorm. Before you now, you can see that creature that you were looking at in the distance.
Can I make another Arcana check? Like, what the frick?
Yeah, what do you want to make an Arcana check for?
What spell is this? What kind of magic is this?
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
I'm
ahead.
kind of curious myself.
In chat, it was like, it's a sand clone from Naruto. It's like, if that's a spell, I so want that.
Your best guess for either of you is that this is
Crap,
just
I
the
can't see
inherent...
spells. Oh, yeah, okay.
Your knowledge of what you've heard about the plane of dreams, which is only just from pretty much what Soam has just told you, which is that what people dream here becomes reality. This is somebody's dream, is the best guess that you have.
Somebody's dreams of Bartholomew. Alright, that's a smidge creepy. Oh well. Maybe himself. Okay.
He is narcissistic that way.
Proceed forward towards this creature in the distance, the Minuteman.
All right. You start moving towards the thing that is no doubt called the Minute Hand. And now you understand the name pretty clearly. As you're looking at this creature, it appears to be a gigantic hand. And the hand kind of moves along the ground like a spider. But at the top of the hand, where the wrist would be, it curves up into a torso, where two more arms kind of stretch out, and then a head rises up from the top.
So, like a dryad, but with a hand instead of a spider body.
Kind of like a Drider, but with a hand instead of a spider body. And the body on top, the head itself, it doesn't appear to have any features. The whole thing is kind of green. It wears these long kind of purple robes that stretch down around the hand. And then the green kind of head has no features, but these two kind of tentacled eyes that stick up and out from it. In its hand, you hear it has, in its hands, it carries a golden scepter. And then at its chest, the only kind of space in its robe, there's kind of a rip and a tear in a circle where its heart would be. And there you can see a clock that is slowly ticking on its chest. A very strange creature.
Hello. Can you speak?
It looks towards you. It just kind of turns and does not really react, but now its gaze seems to be fixed upon you.
We've come to claim back, I look at the others, time?
Go ahead and make me a perception check.
Okay.
Is this for everybody or just him?
Anyone who wants to can make a perception check here.
Ooh, no.
His old eyes.
No. Fluffy's very confused.
Sword, you notice along kind of its arm, it wears like it seemed like more of a pattern on the robe on kind of the right arm, but you see it actually. It's wearing like tons and tons of watches. It almost seems to be wearing them like trophies.
Oh god. Do any of us have watches?
That's an excellent question.
Don't think I don't. And Fluffy has a whole bunch of stuff, but none of them tells time.
I'm pretty sure Baxter would, given on how timing for services would be almost a requirement.
Fluffy's a
what do you all
druid, he
do?
goes by the sun.
As you're confronted with this creature.
So he didn't reply to my question.
I did not. It just turned and looked at you.
I'll
I'm at a loss, guys.
I'll ask. Do you know what time it is?
Oh my god.
The creature does not respond, but you get the impression that it does.
With all those clocks on its arms, it would know the time.
Yes.
At least you would think.
You'd hope so. But actually, if I look at the clocks on his arm, wait, no, I haven't seen it, so never mind.
Baxter keeps himself at the ready, waiting for this thing to lash out, but he begins to walk towards it, almost nonchalantly, but he is keeping guard.
All right, its intention fixes towards you. The two kind of tentacled eye stalks rotate and look down at you. As they do so,
You're painting
it
quite an
starts
image.
it starts to move forward, also at a kind of a walking pace towards you as well.
I'm gonna ready an action.
I stop at a respectful distance, look up at this thing, which I can only imagine stands at least twice my height, at least.
Yeah, that is pretty accurate. A little bit more than that.
Greetings, sir, ma'am.
It.
No, let's not be rude. I'm Baxter Risewell, and I have come to end up dealing with a particular nuisance of a task involving that of a melted timepiece. You wouldn't happen to know anything about that? Quite the collection you got there.
It looks down and it seems to understand what you're gesturing towards. Like it understands that you're referring to its collection of watches on its arm, and it takes them out and kind of turns and rotates them towards you to like show them. Still does not speak.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Still, I am kind of curious. And he kind of tries to motion with his hands while he does this. Take them, or is this something that you have found?
Well, for one thing, as he kind of shows you these watches, you get kind of a long look at them. I'd like you to make me a perception check as you're just staring at them.
Yeah.
The faces of the watches, you're unable to make out kind of the details on them, but the faces, they look like watches from a distance, but as you're staring at them now, they have like a minute hand and such, but reflected on the watches, it seems like just scenes out of people's lives. You see, like a man just kind of like sitting reading a book. You see someone like riding a horse, and like an elven man that's like in the middle of a combat.
A stitch in time.
But yeah, he has a whole bunch of these watches.
Fascinating. Do you collect? Oh, go ahead.
How long has it been since the Bartholomew incident?
Moments. It's been,
so my detect magic
this is within 5 minutes. Yeah.
So do I sense any sort of magic from this clock man?
You can still feel that transmutation in sort of the storm behind you. You can also feel a whole bunch of transmutation magic coming from the clocks on his arm. the staff in his hand and the clock over his heart. The watch is on his arm.
Yeah. So my ready action does make sense. Okay. I'm readying Dispel Magic, just to let you know.
Okay.
But I'm not doing actually anything. I'm just readying in case he does something. I'm gonna do a Dispel Magic.
He's looking at you curiously. You see him starting to like take his staff, and he's looking at you. And Sword, what are you doing at this time? Are you staying back? Or are you up with them, kind of up near this creature?
I'm staying back with the others and getting out some holy water and just preparing to bless everybody.
Okay. As you're preparing this blessing, yeah, and Fawkes.
I'll be like right up next to this creature and get as close as I can and inspect one of these watches.
Okay, you want to also make a perception check on that? Go for it.
Yeah, sure.
Fluffy's wondering why you're just looking at his arm.
I'm 20. All right. As you're looking over them, you see the same thing I described to Baxter. You see just seems like scenes out of people's lives, but among the watches on the arm, you see what looks like scenes from Soam's life, the woman that you saw up at the monastery. It's the one out of the 18 or 19 that he has on his arm. It's the 5th one from the shoulder.
I'll tap him on that one and sort of
you're going
gesture. Yeah.
All right. So as you go out and reach to tap him kind of on the watch, he kind of retracts the arm and puts it away, and you see him kind of looking down at you now, leaning over you, and he kind of holds his staff out in your direction.
I'll put my hands up, like, oh, my bad.
Okay. Yeah. He pulls back. And now he's like eyeing you very closely. The two kind of tentacled eye stalks whip around and focus on you, and he's kind of like leaning forward. You see the thumb that is part of the hand kind of digs into the ground as the 4 fingers kind of flatten so he can lower, and his body pitches forward so he can like examine you very closely.
Oh yeah? I'll flex for him, you know?
Okay, yeah. You flex a bit. Baxter, you sound like you're gonna say something.
I just go ahead. This is your scene. Take it.
No, it's yours.
Damn Canadian standoffs. All right. No, I'm looking at this individual, this thing, and I have no idea about the watches, so any particular one to song. There's a woman about this big. All might have come across here. She can't seem to figure out what time it is. You have any way to alleviate that particular problem, Mr. Minute Hand?
Go ahead and make a persuasion check. He looks down at you, and his eyes kind of shifting away from Fawkes, and I would like you to make me a charisma saving throw.
I can't roll over needed 12 today, apparently.
Yes, classic.
I'll flex a little bit more towards your way and give you a +3 to your saving throw with aura of protection.
Oh yes, you have aura of protection. Unfortunately, an 8 still not quite enough. As you do that, Baxter, all of a sudden, the world just feels strange. You can't really remember, like, a moment ago, you were just standing outside the Bartholomew's shop for the first time. Another moment passes, you're in the bag. It's like each moment behind you is a different moment, and you don't understand how you got here where you are. You have no concept of where you are in time anymore. It's very confusing. And you see as he does that, he kind of lowers his staff towards Baxter. A small kind of light pulls out of the staff, and he adds another watch to his collection.
Can I dispel?
Yeah, go ahead and make a... go ahead and roll Dispel Magic. So yeah, it's magic above the of 3rd level. Right. So I need you to go ahead and... Yep.
No.
Yeah, unfortunately, your Dispel Magic has no effect. But as you do that, you see him kind of recoil now and withdraw all of these watches, and you see him kind of put his hand over him. He obviously treasures these very greatly, and kind of pulls back. And Baxter, your memories are the same. You remember him taking it. It's just in one instant, it feels like he took that watch years ago. And then the next, you remember it like it was yesterday. And then the next, you remember it like it was the 5 seconds ago it was. And it just keeps shifting and moving around as your past just keeps getting jumbled.
But I am aware of what this thing has done to me.
Yes, it's disorienting, but you still remember everything. It's all very shuffled.
Okay. Okay. Look, I don't care how long it's taken me. We finish this now, right? Now, you might want to consider giving that back because I'm not sure if you know this, but sand can get a little heavy. He kind of puts the spade of his shoulder in the sand underneath.
Nice. It's just back to like the eye stalks move and are examining Fawkes once again, as it's just looking at you.
I'm talking here.
And
Yeah,
this
I'll
time,
put some holy water over my biceps and kiss it. Really get that twisting going on.
at this point, one of the eye stalks turns and looks at you, Baxter, and then it sees kind of your rage, and the other one turns and it looks at you, and it just kind of bears down and almost intimidating. It doesn't have, like I said, any facial expressions, but you can tell by its posture it's trying to look at you intimidatingly.
Fearing that things are going to go badly here really quick, I'm going to go ahead and bless everybody.
Oh, okay, so we're doing stuff. Alright. Which 3? Everyone but yourself?
Everyone but myself.
Okay.
I cannot get the thing to come up on my list, though.
That's okay. I know what it does. All of you suddenly feel this kind of weight lifted off of you as Sword's blessing comforts you. Even you, Baxter, who's in a bit of a disheveled state, find yourself benefiting from this. You feel a little bit clearer.
Oh, that's right. I just cast Dispel Magic. Chaos Amulet again. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll get it. You're big, you're scary, you're ugly. I'm not gonna lie. In any other context, I might be screaming for my granny. But you done took something from me.
Oh. Okay.
Make an
roll
intimidation
initiative
check. It's up to y'all. This thing hasn't actually taken any action yet. Make an intimidation check. All right.
God.
It looks at you and it kind of like rears back in a bit of a defensive posture, and even more now, it's kind of guarding those watches, and it starts kind of moving away from you. And as it does, I would like everyone to actually, I would like everyone to roll for initiative. You see it raise its staff and get ready to do something else, and I imagine that is a trigger for all of you to do stuff.
That's par for the course right there.
And as it's going to roll for initiative, where did I put you? Where did I put you, buddy? There you are.
15.
All right, the minute hand. Oh, nice. Minute hand goes first.
Missing someone. No, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it's okay. Never mind.
Nope, that's everybody. All right. In this case, the minute hand kind of takes the staff and just moves it in front of you, and I'd like all of you to make me a wisdom saving throw.
Okay. Oh, for sake. I can't roll above a 10 today, apparently, as well.
Yeah, another wisdom.
Yep.
Is it
Nice.
wisdom what plus 1d4?
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
All you get to add a d4 to all of your rolls. Everyone but Sword does. And
the
Fox,
aura,
you get a wisdom
and
save
the
from you
aura
too.
protection.
And you have the aura protection, so you all get an additional +3. Although natural
Sorry,
one is never gonna.
Yeah,
natural one is never
my
gonna get you there.
flexing is really encouraging everyone.
Wait, you have crit fails on skill checks here? Okay.
Yes, sir. Crit fail. The way crit fails and crits work is a crit fail is an automatic fail, and a crit is an automatic success. Other than that, we don't do any RP stuff on them. So, all of you find that sensation that you felt earlier, it returns as suddenly you find yourself slowed down, with the exception of Baxter and Fawkes, who both of you succeeded. And as it casts this spell on you, you see the hand kind of lifts itself up and it starts rushing away from you towards the desert.
It should only affected me. Everyone else got really high.
Would I get an opportunity attack from it? Sword
failed that saving throw. You failed that saving throw.
19?
Oh, with the +3, no, I forgot about that. So
And
yes,
D4,
actually only you.
No one else rolled
He did
D4
not.
as
He
well.
did not have the D4.
So we all get a.
So only
react.
you. Yep, all of you
Yeah.
get a reaction to this thing running away as it starts to
Only me.
move.
Or attack of opportunity.
Yep, if you wish to take one. 18 hits.
Would,
Well, 5
would
points
you
of
allow me
damage.
to grapple it?
I would say no. This creature is too big for you to grapple.
Okay. Yep.
You're just gonna make an attack roll. All right.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. You definitely hit with a 17, so it's 14 points of damage. You gonna smite, or are you just doing that?
Nope, just that. I'm like, hey, what do you think you're doing?
Yeah, and as
And like,
it starts to run away.
stab my blade into one of its things as it runs.
Cool. And sword. Do you want to take a reaction attack?
Yes, I shall throw out some inflict. I shall do spiritual weapon.
You can't cast a spell, unfortunately, as a reaction. It can only be just like a regular attack. If you have like a
Okay.
regular weapon.
Then I'll use my light crossbow.
All right. Actually, I'm sorry. Once again, you cannot use a ranged weapon as a reaction attack. It has to be. You can only attack with a melee weapon. Is what an opportunity attack is.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you don't have a melee weapon, you can use that, or you can just like punch him and try and like kick him or something.
Yeah, as I stab him, I'm like, oh, sorry, my sword just fell.
In that case,
Again, enemy
it doesn't-
actually attacking.
in that case, I'll just use my spear.
All right, that you can do. I apologize for the confusion there. And go ahead and roll damage because 17 hits. Nice rolls, everyone. For 5 points of piercing damage. As all of you kind of hit the creature, it kind of doubles down its speed, and you see it start to move across the. You see it start to move across the desert, and as it's taking its steps, it moves like a fair strip, and then all of a sudden it just jumps ahead a little bit further. Its movement seems to be staggered as it steps. It just seems to be moving, like it might disappear for a moment and then appear a little bit farther away. It's very erratic in the way it kind of tramps through the desert on these hand-like feet. That is all for that creature's turn as it runs away. It gets a pretty reasonable distance away from you. The next to act in this combat is going to be, if I remember correctly, was Fawkes 6. Fawkes, what do you do?
Okay. When it runs, how far away is it?
At this point, it gets actually 60 feet away in that round.
All right, then
You can move.
I will. I don't have my mount on me, so let's see. I'll just bonus action, Greaves of War. I have 60 feet. I'll get up to it.
All right, you spread out your wings and this is your wings, right?
No, this is
Oh, you can
my
just run that
boots.
far because of the boots. Yeah.
Yeah.
You begin taking off, dashing after this creature. All right, you get right up next to him.
My boots sort of just move for me. I'm like, oh, what? Oh, we're fighting now. Okay. I'll swing my sword.
All right.
Ah.
Go ahead and make an attack.
And I'll like whirlwind into him.
All right. 21 hits, a 14 unfortunately misses, but you still are under the effects of bless. So go ahead and roll.
Bless.
Go ahead and roll a
Yeah.
d4. And a 16 does hit. Oh, actually, wait. I'm sorry. A 16 still
shit.
misses.
Oh.
No, my bad. and the first cut of the sword though slashes true. It hits one of the strange finger legs, and that is, I think, all for your turn. Or do you have anything else? Okay. Yeah, Fawkes is back in kind of range of this creature. The thing has moved a pretty good distance away as it passes now to your turn, sword.
All right, I shall use command and command the creature to return. He's still within 60 feet, right?
Yep.
And then I shall use command and tell him to return to us.
So he's gonna make a wisdom saving throw. Yes.
Yes.
He is pretty decent at those, actually. A 19 saves, I assume.
Yep.
Yeah, unfortunately, as you call for this creature to return, he looks up at you in your direction at the command, and then just the eye stalks return, focusing once more on the threat in front of him, Fawkes, as he does not move. Is there anything else on your turn, sword? Do you want to move closer? You're currently 60 feet away.
I'm moving, closing distance between them, but that's about all I can do.
You end your turn 30 feet away. Very good. In that case, it's going to bring us to, I believe, Fluffy is next. Fluffy, what do you do?
There's a thing of what happens in wild shape stays in wild shape. So if I wild shape, does the slow go away?
You'll have to wild shape and find out.
Okay, I'm going to wild shape into a giant constrictor snake.
All right. As you wild shape into a giant constrictor snake, it seems the magic is on your form and not like something within your body that can be dissipated. You are still slowed as you transform into beast form.
Okay, I will move 30 feet, and that's all I can do.
What is your speed as a giant constrictor snake?
30.
You can only move, unfortunately, then 15 feet. As you move forward, you're moving very slowly as you kind of slither over the sands.
Is that the terrain or the spell?
That is the spell.
Where did it say that?
Go ahead and back and read it if you'd like to. But it says that on the spell, halves your speed. That is going to bring us to Baxter. Baxter, what do you wish to do?
Well, I believe Baxter will end up giving chase. And so I'm going to move 30 feet. Then
All right, go for it.
Then I'm going to cast as a bonus action.
Oh, excellent.
Which is going to put me on top of this thing. I am purposely going to fall and see if I can
nice.
collide into this. And
I also have to make a wisdom save at the end of my turn, I believe.
Yep, you can.
21.
Yep, you end the effect.
nice. And as I end up falling upon this thing, because this is a cantrip, I can cast it.
Absolutely. You reach out and kind of, I imagine this is, there's a lot of range on Chill Touch, but I imagine with this kind of style, it's a melee attack, right? You're just using your own hand?
Oh, I'm going to wrap my hand around the damn thing if I could.
All right, yeah. So you watch as Baxter runs up and then all of a sudden appears 30 feet away, now directly on top of this creature, kind of holding on to it. And he reaches a hand out and starts draining the life energy out of it with your Chill Touch. You deal 6 points of necrotic damage.
Is it one that slows the movement or gives me disadvantage on an attack?
I believe it. I think it has an additional effect, maybe. Does it have an extra effect, Baxter?
It has plenty of additional effects, but unless this thing is undead, it really doesn't matter at this point.
This creature is
it just can't heal this damage.
Okay. But you watch as, this old man runs up and then just in a flash of light disappears and reappears and does this attack against the creature. That is going to be pretty radical. That is going to bring us to the top of the initiative, which...
I believe, however, that means I'm technically in mid-fall on top of this thing.
Oh, I'll say that you have grabbed onto it. You'll have to, make a strength save to, hold on at, the end of...
All right.
At the start of your turn, I will let you make a strength saving throw to hold on.
All right.
but for now you're on it. And the creature, it doesn't seem like to have a lot of recourse to actually hit you, as its giant kind of hand-like feet, or its hand feet are just kind of on the ground and they can't really like lift up. So the feet that make up the lower part of this creature's body, or the hand that makes up the lower part of this creature's body, it leans back on the thumb, and you see the 4 fingers lash out towards you, who is the closest to it right now, Fawkes.
Okay, that hits. That
19
that's
misses.
the second one, doesn't it?
27 hits.
20,
And 13
yep,
misses. All right, so you take a total of 25 points of damage as the fingers poof, 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 just bludgeon into your armor as it's leaning back on the thing, and then you watch as the other hand, one hand goes off of the giant golden staff and moves to the clock that it covers over its heart, and it turns and winds up the clock, and you see it start to tick tick on its heart. And that is all this creature is going to do this round. That is going to bring us to you, Fawkes. What do you do? This creature has just unleashed a torrent of blows.
I'll reach behind my back for my greatsword and then throw it down into his heart. And when I pull it out, I pull out my baby polar bear who's holding onto my greatsword for me and slash it at him.
I go ahead and make an attack roll.
Combo attack. Let's go.
All right. You levy the Cloudbuster, and then the Cloudbuster once more. Both of those attacks are going to hit as you stab kind of right around where like the clock is that would be over its heart. As you go to stab into the clock, it seems to be like extremely hard, and it kind of directs your blade a little bit away, but you still stab deep into the chest for another 27 points of damage. You gonna add anything to that?
Yeah, I'll search twice for some Divine Smite, and bonus action. I was gonna cast Branding Smite and brand him.
Yeah, that's cool.
Probably.
So does he make a save against that, or I'll give it to you. It's fine.
All right. Apparently,
So
the compendium
or does that just happen?
Is he? Just happened.
Okay. So does he take additional damage now, or I'm not entirely certain how that spell works.
The compendium doesn't have any smites, so I have to get it from this thing. Shit.
Okay. We will come back to that, I guess.
But it takes 2d6 again.
Okay. Go ahead and roll that 2d6 then.
You want me to read out Branding Smite?
Nope, that's fine. And an additional 8 points of damage. All right, yeah, a powerful couple of attacks as Fawkes takes up the sword and strikes into the minute hand. There's just an explosion of light and fire. Or I guess it's all light, as Branding Strike is also a radiant ability. And it starts. You watch as it hits it. The creature starts to shed this dim light. That is, I think, all for your turn done, Fawkes. Which I believe brings us to Sword Coheir. Sword. What do you wish to do? Your bless is still aiding your allies at this time. You're within 30 feet, so you can get up close if you want to. What do you do?
Who got this?
You are a little bit. Can you say that one more time? You kind of bought it out on me for a second.
Who got the smackdown a moment ago?
That was just Fawkes that just attacked, doing a massive amount of damage.
No, the one that got hit.
Pokes.
Oh, that was me again.
Yeah, that was also him.
I take also I pitch.
Well, in that case, I shall use Inflict Wounds.
All right. So you're gonna run up right next to it, I believe, right? And make sure you click it on the front of your character sheet to make sure
Yeah, I
it
know, I
goes through.
keep doing that.
18 hits, nice. Roll damage on that. 16 necrotic. As you hold out your hands and inflict wounds on this creature, you feel like this incredible, like, draining energy. It's strange, and you felt this too before, Baxter. Like, this thing is just made of dreams, basically. So it doesn't feel exactly the same as when you kind of pour necrotic energy to it, or in your case, Baxter, kind of drain the necrotic energy from it. But it still seems to affect it. It definitely is not enjoying what's happening to it. As you inflict wounds, is there anything else? It's a good damage roll. Or actually, it's an average damage roll. It's just a good spell.
No, that'll be it for me.
All right, so yeah, you're now also within melee range of this creature. That is going to bring us to you. That's going to bring us to you, Fluffy. What do you do?
He has not moved, correct?
He has not moved, no.
Okay, I'll move another 30 feet and get that right next to him. And as in giant constrictor snake form, I will try and constrict him.
You were actually 45 feet away because you were 60 feet away, and then you could only move 15 feet last turn.
Okay.
So you would have to dash in order to get in range. That's kind of the...
Then I will.
Okay.
Is this monster making concentration checks for slow?
He's already lost.
it.
He's already gotten out of the slow.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And is there anything else on your turn? Do you have a bonus action you wish to do? Okay. In that case, Baxter, you are currently on top of this creature. I would like you to go ahead and make me a strength saving throw to continue to hold on or to be cast to the ground within its threat range.
I believe I still get a bonus, correct?
Oh, you still have bless. Yes.
Yeah. Is that enough to stay on?
Well, you'll need to add the benefits of your bless. Before
D4, right?
Say. Yep. Unfortunately, with a 12, it's not quite enough. As the thing is kind of moving around, and you see it kind of as it was leaning back to use those finger poke attacks against Fawkes' sake, you kind of fell backwards onto the ground. You take no damage, but you are no longer kind of riding this creature.
Okay. Then on the recovery, I need it to make a DC. I needed to end up making a Constitution savings throw DC 14.
Oh, Jesus. It rolled a 17 naturally.
Alright. Yeah, I try and end up blinding the thing, but...
yeah. You see as the two eyes for a brief moment start to fog over, and it almost seems like time kind of rewinds a little bit, and it undoes the effect.
Oh, that's just not fair, dearie.
Is there anything else on your turn? You still have a bonus action.
Nothing I can do as a bonus action. Sorry to say.
Keep in mind, this giant constrictor snake is huge, probably bigger than this creature.
Yes, I know you're very big. So the creature at this point, you see the thing that was ticking on its chest, the kind of clock that was ticking over its heart that he winded before. It all of a sudden, it rings like an alarm clock. I would like all of you to go ahead and make me. These are going to be wisdom saving throws.
All right, Minuteman, take a good look at me.
+3 plus D4. So that is 20.
20. Sword and that was a 14 for you, Fawkes.
Yep.
And Baxter, you failed. But Sword and Fluffy, you are fine. But you watch as Baxter and Fawkes. You watch as their ages both begin to change.
Oh shit! What about my
Fawkes.
polar bear?
Oh no, your polar bear. As you are suddenly thrown backward in time, you are sent to a point, Fawkes, where you are younger and significantly weaker. You find your strength score is at this point reduced by 4. As you have been brought back in time, you watch as Fawkes seems too kind of small for his armor that now fits massive on him, this orange plate on this huge man. The baby polar bear is now tiny. It looks like it was newborn. It's gonna make a save. Actually, let it make a save.
Wait. Does that mean Baxter's back?
Hold on a second. Yeah, hold on a second.
Hold on. Wisdoms
Oh,
get
yeah.
+1.
We're sharing
Oh
characters.
man,
Oh,
it has
there you
plus
go.
3 because of your aura. The polar bear is actually fine. The baby polar bear is still good.
Oh,
It was almost devastating for that baby polar bear who was.
I sheltered him from the blast.
Indeed,
But
that's why you took the hit. And Baxter, as you were rewinded in time, you find yourself not a young man, but a middle-aged one, and you feel yourself full of vim and vigor. Your strength score has increased by 4 points as it.
yeah. Can I relish this moment for a bit? I want you to remember, for most of his life, he's been lifting caskets. He's been, hell, he's seen bodies. He's been so you get to understand exactly in his prime, or at least relatively, what he could have been. You've never seen him this big.
Baxter looks a bit swole right now. And then it's going to take the rest of its turn, as that was its move. You see as it once again turns and winds that clock, as it intends to just keep doing this, it would seem. And also it's going to make attacks against... it's going to make an attack against you, Baxter. It's actually just going to make one attack against everyone.
Bring it.
Ouch.
That's it.
That is all of its attacks. We'll just go in order. That crit is going to be against you, Fluffy. Baxter, that is a 25. Sword, that is a 16. And Farku, that is a 28.
That does no damage to me.
So, don't do any damage to me either.
With 25 misses you? It was 11.
No, it did damage, but remember, temporary hit points. It's done nothing.
Yes. As it continues to pummel you with these giant finger legs. That is all for the creature's turn.
It's me in the gut and I spit out blood. I've been bloody.
Oh, jeez. All right, it's your turn, Fawkes. What do you do?
Well, you don't want to know what it was like for me when I was just...
I can't heal in my snake form, sadly.
So what's it gonna be, Fawkes? Okay.
Attack.
All right, go ahead and make an attack roll. Are those -2, or is that with the decrease?
Yeah, it adjusts with your strength, so I set my strength -4. So
Okay, cool. Yep, so both of those hit still, even despite it. The blade is now feels strangely heavy in your teenage hands as you go and swipe up to attack. But
I've been practicing with oversized weapons since I was small. Gotcha.
This is just how strong you were. You were this skilled. As you strike for another 24 points of damage, absolutely massive. Are you going to do anything else?
No, that's it for my.
Much excellent. Great. In that case, that's going to bring us now to Sword. What do you wish to do? You are within melee range. It's just lashed out.
I shall use Spiritual Weapon, and then I use my bonus action Healing Word on Fawkes.
Spiritual Weapon is a bonus action, isn't it?
Spiritual Weapon is a bonus action. And unfortunately, you can't cast multiple spells in the same round.
Okay.
One of them has to be a cantrip. So you can Spiritual Weapon and then cast a cantrip, or you could Healing Word and then cast a cantrip, or you could, do an attack as well.
Or if you used Spiritual Weapon earlier and the weapon's already out, you could use Spiritual Weapon as a bonus action and cast a spell.
Yes, indeed.
In that case, I'll just use a Spiritual Weapon for now from a bonus action, then I'll use my light crossbow. Does that work?
Yep, you absolutely does. So go ahead and make an attack with the... Oh, man! Nice! Roll damage. And then go ahead and make... you're going to use the light crossbow? All right. Unfortunately, the 8 misses, but the 25 from the Spiritual Weapon critical strike for another 19 points of damage. Nice. Let me just write it down. And as the spiritual weapon kind of appears behind it, it's stabbing right into the neck. You see like sand leaking out of all of the wounds on this creature. It's starting to look pretty beat up. That is going to bring us, I think, to Fluffy's turn. That was an incredible hit from Sword. What's it going to be, Fluffy?
I'll bring the Striga snake back over there. Constrict. 22.
22 hits. This giant snake, this hand-like creature, the snake coils up and around, wrapping the creature. The target is grappled.
Restrained and 12 bludgeoning.
All right, 12 points of bludgeoning damage.
And everyone else has advantage on him now. Yay!
100. Excellent.
That will be
the creature's looking right. You're kind of like squeezing him in. The arms that hold the staff are trying to work their way out. That is going to bring us to Baxter. Baxter, you feel invigorated in a way that you haven't in a very long time.
Well, Terry, I haven't felt this good in ages, so I'm just gonna have to end up taking the best shot at it.
No advantage.
Yep.
Advantage and a D4. It's really hard to miss now.
And a D4.
So 13 plus D4. Ooh, 17.
17 just hits. It's the minimum. For 7 points of bludgeoning damage as Baxter is emboldened. Is that with the extra strength bonus? Did you already add that?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So you hit for 7 points of bludgeoning damage as your stubble crashes down on top of the creature's head.
Or no, that would be versatile, wouldn't it? So that would be a D8, not a D6, right?
Okay.
Just double checking. He counts as a quarterstaff. We agreed on that, right?
Yep, that's fine. So go ahead and roll
Probably
a
be
D8
worse.
instead.
Yep, it'll be worse.
That is okay. Because you still have the +3, which means that. Would you care to describe your killing blow on this creature?
Wow.
You had it anyway.
All right. So what you see is Baxter ends up bringing the spade down almost as though it was an axe, and it starts to cleave into where this thing's head is. But rather than decapitating, the sheer force that Baxter is capable of bringing now that he's closer to his youth is able to end up forcing that spade through the neck, down the collarbone, starts to pierce ribs, lung, and go all the way out to just under the pectoral, removing this entire chunk.
Jesus.
And it just slides along the sand, spilling out the internals, which I imagine are sand, and scatters.
Oh yeah, it just starts spilling out of the creature's body.
While me constricting, do I pop it like a balloon?
Oh, I imagine it's being squeezed like.
Oh yeah, it's being like pushed outwards, upwards, as this creature just kind of dissolves into sand and dust. The robe and its kind of effects falling to the ground. You see the ticking heart falls, and you hear it just kind of very slowly. It ceases to tick. All of those watches just kind of also crash down to the ground.
It's at this point Baxter reaches to what you could only presume is its heart, and ends up taking hold of the thing. Kind of curious about it. Rips it out of what's left.
Yeah, you grab the heart. It's kind of a physical clock. It's interesting. It doesn't look. It looks almost mundane, and most of the creature is kind of sand at this point, so it removes and just kind of the sand falls away. You brush it off. It looks old, cracked. You don't see magical runes on it, but it is a very interesting. It is a very interesting clock. You can see a lot of very intricate gear work on the inside of it.
Yeah. Well, that being said, I got some watches to end up collecting. Anybody else? If anybody finds mine, please do hand it back. I would be grabbing.
And Teenage Fawkes. And Teenage Fawkes.
Teenage me.
Middle-aged Baxter. Both of you find yourselves slowly starting to return back to the way that you were before this. You watch your muscles are filling back out, refilling the armor up. Baxter, you find yourself growing weaker by the second. But Baxter, you also...
My scars reform back on.
Yep, some of the scars return. Baxter, I imagine some of the scars also return. But Baxter, you grab the watch that you find that has just scenes from your own life in it.
He looks at it, opening it up and checking it for a moment, pockets it, holds it close, and then proceeds to continue rummaging. And as he does so, he looks to Sword and said, you know, kind of wish I could swing him like I used to, you know. Imagine what I would have been like if I had picked up the sword instead of the shovel. Well.
And you find as you're holding that watch that your time now feels right again, Baxter.
Well, if everybody's found a piece of themselves, I imagine we should take the rest of the...
All right, you begin your...
Is the rod still there?
Yep, the big golden scepter.
All right, I'll take that.
All right, you grab the scepter. It looks very valuable.
Okay, well then I'll keep...
All right.
I'm a snake.
So, as each of you begin kind of stepping back towards, eventually you find yourself returned to the Dreamwalker monastery sometime later. As peaceful as it ever was, and Soam, upon your return, looks up to all of you.
It is good to see that you have returned. Can I trust that means that you have done the task that I required of you?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll hand over the big pile of other watches that have been taken from other people throughout the dream world.
I was trying my best to see that these return to the people who they belong to.
And you see her take out the watch that belongs to her, picks it out from among them. As she straps it on her wrist, it just kind of seems to dissolve into her skin, and she just kind of looks up.
Much better.
And you have, in this case, completed your adventure.
I cannot thank you enough. You, I suppose, also are able to get home now because I can send you there. But also all of these people, you have done a great deed.
You know, I'm kind of glad he didn't take my watch away.
Yes, he seems to have his own preferences. It's a strange thing. How did you get out of there alive? How did you escape the creature?
Killed it.
Escape.
Fed it.
And that is, I think that's probably where we'll call this one, as you begin to, I imagine, recount the tale, as Fawkes loves to do. I'm sure that you take an active role in that. But that's all. You've each earned an experience point and 200 Bartholomew bucks. And thanks very much for playing, everybody.